Good morning and welcome to my channel, Mary Bourne ND. And I'd like to take you around and show you mid-June what's happening in my gardens. We had quite the thunderstorm last night and into the morning. It's about 9:30 right now. And we're supposed to get to temperatures about 90 degrees today and the next few days. So let me show you what's happening, because I think after that heat, things are going to change. We're going to start out here in the green stalk, and you can see how lush and lovely this is. These violas probably will not be able to tolerate the 90-degree temperatures that we're supposed to have this week. It's sad, but that's the way things go. Some things will thrive and some things will not like it. So there we have some spinach that's bolting. The marigolds I planted the other day are doing really well. They're enjoying this potential heat here. So I've got some spaces that will be opening up here. Got strawberries that are sending out runners. You can put those in the pot here and let them survive. Well, I have to put a hook or something in there. So that's the first green stalk, and you can see I've already got some little tomatoes here. This is Tom Thumb. So they're just little cherry tomatoes. This is just a weed we need to get out. The sage I put in is doing well, enjoying the water it got. These are my favorite strawberries. These are the Seascape, and I'm looking forward to them creating runners so I can make more of those plants. The peas I put in, they're spreading. No peas yet, but I think they will come. Hopefully they will be okay with the heat. Got purple basil, lots of lettuce, hoping they do all right also. I have planted more lettuce seed because lettuce usually doesn't like it too hot. More strawberries coming. Thyme. Very humid out here today. So here's the lettuce that is coming, and they will replace things that are bolting. I planted some bean seeds in these upper tiers. So yes, you notice I've got most of the third green stalk planted now. Very pleased with it. Got something eating away here. Gonna have to spray some Captain Jacks. And a stash of things yet to be planted. Beautiful, beautiful sweet peas, lovely scent, just gorgeous. And the coral ones just popped out. Got a dahlia coming in here that will take the place of the sweet peas when they succumb to the heat. Oh, it looks like I've got a white one coming here too. Should be really pretty. I hope it's pretty now, but it'll get exemplary in a little bit. This is in a kind of a shaded, protected area, so it may not succumb to the heat. And I'm going to show you just by looking down. These are the nasturtium I put in. And they're doing really well with the onions. They're playing well. It's a huge nasturtium. It can go like 17 feet. So that's down below the deck. Well, not quite under the deck, but next to it. The grass is looking pretty lush with all that rain we've had. Well, let's go to the front yard and see what's going on there. Go out my front door. This is the fern garden, and I put my pots of geraniums in here so that they can get out. Later on this summer, I'll do some cuttings and propagate them. Brennera and the heuchera are doing really well in this area. Some of it is pretty laden down by the harsh storm that we had, but I think they enjoyed getting that beautiful rain. Love these begonias, they look so pretty there. And then over here, this pot doesn't get wet, so I have to hand water it. And there's something on there. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, it looks like a fly. Yeah, fly. Wonder if they do any damage. I don't think I'm going to have a ranunculus flower bloom this year. This is the only pot that looks promising. And with the 90-degree temperatures, ranuncula don't like that. Another plant stash ready to go. That's the finishing up of the coleus that I planted along the slanted shed. We built this slanted shed in the 80s. It looks so pretty. Very glad to have that project done. But I've got a surprise to show you. My Watchman hollyhocks have bloomed, looking so lovely. Got lots more to come. I think they're all the same variety, the Watchman. First saw that when Jess at Roots and Refuge had hers. I had some bug damage going on here and sprayed it with the Captain Jack's Dead Bug Boo. These got quite well watered. You can see my milkweed is coming to blossom. And the butterflies will like that. This garden is just for them. Then around this area here, I transplanted the heuchera that were in the circle. I'll show you that in a bit. They are very grateful for all that rain that they got. And doing really well, considering these were just transplanted a few days ago. Getting raindrops on my head from the apple tree. You can see something built a nest in there. Grapes are doing really good. Very pleased. So far, no bug damage. But I'm very pleased with that Captain Jack's. I also like diatomaceous earth. Iridium. Love that blue. Such a true blue color. Continuing on from the angled shed is my 3 hydrangeas, and they are blooming, starting to bloom. This is Little Quickfire. And that should be really lovely in front of the mums. This is a balloon flower, comes up every year. Looks like it's starting to create a bloom. The end of June tour should show those. Mums are doing really good coming back every year. And so are the weeds, unfortunately. Still more tomato plants to find a home. I should say, ranuncula in this pot. And you can see they just didn't make it this year. Sorry, you know, I see such beautiful flowers around and they're not happening in my garden. And across the way are beautiful two double, what would you call it, lacy maples that I put in, about 30 years ago now. So that's what a mature plant looks like, or bush, I guess you would call it, not exactly a plant. Hostas are starting to bloom. They're not really noted for their blooms. They're kind of pretty. Lavender. And I finished this garden finally. It has the rocking deep purple salvia with the angel pink begonia. And that's where I took the heuchera from, the coral bells. I just took up on that one section, and I've got that section yet to do. And I was thinking what I would put in those corners instead is maybe some rudbeckia. I'm going to try and find that at the market. Across the way from that, my herb garden has exploded. I'm thinking these pansies and violas will not be here on the next tour. Although I've been picking some lovely returning chamomile, making some tea out of it. So in the background there you can see the variegated iris and a form of artemisia. I'm not sure what that is. The comfrey is spreading again. I'm going to have to chop it back. It really explodes with the rain. My chives have bounced back. They're doing really good. Ready for another picking, in fact. This is tansy. I've got a whole video on tansy. I'll link it in the description below. My elephant garlic are shooting up. Now, if this was hardneck, you would want to harvest the scapes. I've never harvested this. I think I might try doing one or two, but generally I just let them bloom, and then when everything dies down, I harvest the garlic globe. I don't know if you can capture that on the video, but there's a dragonfly sitting there on this stem. Rosemary, horseradish, senna. Dahlias are doing great back there. Keep trying to free them from the comfrey. I've got hibiscus, hardy hibiscus coming up. It's kind of a chartreuse looking. It probably needs a little fertilizer to keep it going. Got some yarrow. This is the red yarrow coming in here. Beautiful. I've got pink, and I think I also have some white. Planted the lavender. I'm not sure that that's going to survive, but hopefully it will. Shasta daisy is just about ready to burst open and have some pretty blooms. Oh, in the midst of the yarrow is the lemon balm, and it's doing really well too. I'm very pleased with it. This part has yet to be dealt with. A lot of weeding to do in here, but the butterfly bush is doing really well, and the purple bell vine is hanging in there. So far, nothing much. I've fertilized it, and I think I'll try and fertilize it again and see what's happening with it. Peonies are done, and they need to be trimmed back, so get rid of the blooms so that it has a better chance of not getting powdery mildew. The mandevilla is just gorgeous. So pleased. And keep winding around, and looks like after this rain I'm going to have to do a little more controlling here just to keep these blooms in check. Very pleased. Such a lovely plant. The lilies are coming. I have some blooms coming on them. You see my shadow, but there's the blooms there. That's yellow dock, a great herb. Yeah, I did trim this. Unfortunately, my trimmer was dull, so it doesn't look the greatest right now, this variegated willow, but it survives. Sorry for the helicopter. I have been working on the arch trellis here. I planted some squash. This is spaghetti squash, 2 spaghetti squash in bags, and looking forward to them. This is a yellow, what is this called? This is a butternut squash. I haven't planted butternut squash before. I'm on a new food regime where I can't have grains, so the spaghetti squash is for my spaghetti. But there's some blooms on there, and who knows, you know. I don't know much about butternut, but I've been reading a lot of recipes, and there's a lot of YouTubers that use it. This area here is still jungle-esque. Got a volunteer potato here, and have gotten a tomato planted. This is the black brandywine. This is one I started from seed and has some beautiful blooms on it. And my neighbor's lily is kind of coming through. And 2 more alpaca tomatoes that have to be planted yet. And then another tomato. This is, again, something ate the top of it, so it has 2 liters now, maybe 3. We're just to see what happens with that. You see, I can see what this one is. It's a Sheboygan. And I think that is a determinate Sheboygan. 3 potatoes, and I've dressed them with some wood chips And these are all determinate tomatoes, and most of them have blooms on them. Very exciting. I do trim them differently than I do the indeterminate because they have basically 2 weeks where they will give you lots of fruit and then they're done, whereas the indeterminate keep on going. Got celery growing in here and that's doing really well. Some lettuce, and again I may have to pick that this afternoon before later on this morning before it gets too hot. And I got this third bed planted. It looks like something is trying to eat at the kale, so I will see if I can protect that with a little Captain Jack's. Peppers, no blooms on the peppers yet, but so that's a kind of young garden. This was the one that had the cover. Whoa, correction on that. That looks like a bloom to me. Do you think it's a bloom? Just very tiny, but yep, we've got a pepper bloom. The dill is beautiful. Heading up. Onions, I'm real pleased with my onions. This is the first time I've grown onions and created a bulb, so I'm very excited about that. I planted some bush beans in with the onions, and when the onions come out, I'll probably do another succession of beans where the onions were. This is, I believe, a yellow pear tomato. We will find out when it finishes blooming because I don't have a tag on it. I'm going to go check out this coleus and the rest of the garden. Coleus is glorious. Such a beautiful shade of purple. All along the fence. That last one is a different color. It's more pinkish purple. I think this one's called Jackmania. I'm not sure, but it was here when we moved here 50 years ago. I transplanted some. It was in my herb garden and struggling, and I transplanted it to this area, and it's doing really well. These tomatoes are the indeterminate. What I've done with them is called the Florida weave. And you just take string and go in and out, so it weaves in and out of the tomatoes one way, and then you do the opposite in the other direction. And it's about time to do a little more to it. Oftentimes I can do it without a clip, but what I chose this time was too stretchy. Shouldn't have used something so elastic. It needs like jute or some kind of twine that isn't going to give like this plastic does. So I'll probably be redoing that. Got some purpless cucumbers coming in here. And they're enjoying that. I got the pickling cucumber variety over here, and they're doing really well too. So my cucumbers that I started from seed didn't do well, so unfortunately I had to go and get some from the farmer's market. As you can see, there's lots of blossoms on these tomatoes, and this is the earliest I've ever had that many blossoms on tomatoes. A closer look at the, I don't know, call them violet colored clematis. And you can see the hostas are enormous. This bed definitely needs help. The goji berry though is doing great. So far, I haven't had any bunny damage. There. This is an standard elderberry. It's the more behaved of the two that I have of standard elderberries. Gladiola, a couple of them came back, very happy. We'll see what colors survived. We got to get rid of some of this creeping Charlie and the other weeds, get this bed shaped up. Still having lots of beautiful blooms on the black lace elderberry. I love this bush, it's so pretty. It just has multiple seasons of interest. And it does provide berries. And to my knowledge, they're just as beneficial as the standard elderberry. And then this is the, let's call him the ill-behaved elderberry that I have to keep cutting back. And I'm not sure if I'm affecting the cross-pollination thing, but at this point I don't want an 8-foot bush in my yard. And speaking of bushes, this hardy hibiscus is doing really, really good. I'm very pleased. It's so amazing how they can die down to nothing and pop back up in the next season. This is another beautiful one. So we'll look forward to seeing how they bloom out. And perhaps in the end of June garden, you'll see this cleaned up. We'll see. The forsythia are in bad need of a haircut. But right now, I've got to do something about sharpening my hedge trimmer. This cherry tree does not produce nice cherries. They're rather small, and there's as much pit as there is cherry. But since the other one died, it is the only cherry tree we have. Lots of traffic here at the entrance garden, but the blooms are enjoying all this beautiful rain we got, and now this lovely sunshine. And I'm sure with the heat, these heat-loving summer plants will be doing, we hope, doing their best to crowd out the thistle. You can see that the daisies are starting to bloom up again, like in the herb garden. But you can see the thistle is really making its way. It's obnoxious weed, I'll tell you. So we want to say, grow petunias. Do your thing. Be wild and make this a lovely garden. Not much is happening in the bird garden. The iris are done for the season, and I think I might have Rebecca here. If it shows to be Rebecca and I've got several plants, I might just take some of these and put them in the circle garden. Oh, I do have some astilbe in bloom. That's lovely. Oh, and a lily. This is I believe, a cardinal lily. And that's a hardy hibiscus that I need to take out, but I didn't know at what stage I could remove it. I think I'm going to try and do it when it gets a little cooler. You don't want to do it 90-degree temperatures. Graceful grasses are doing beautifully, seeding up. They stay pretty well controlled. I do have to pull some here and there, but I have a lot of weeds that I have to pull here and there. And this beautiful Japanese maple is looking gorgeous, all dewy from the rain we've had. Such a beautiful, beautiful tree. So happy I planted that. 27 years ago. Well, thank you for taking the garden walk with me in the middle of June and seeing all the beauty that is showing here in the gardens. And hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And thanks for joining me. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Tell others. Help me grow my channel. And till next time, this is Mary. And I'll see you next time.